What is up, everybody? Hope you are having a wonderful evening. Hope you're tuning in for the old hobby stream. Good to see you all. So, looks like tonight we are going to finish things off. Just, of course, as always, make sure that things actually go live here. Solo show and all that good stuff. Probably live, probably not. We'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm recording to post later. Okay, so we have been building the Primaris Outrider, and we are pretty much done with this build, right? We got ourselves kind of some lit working bikes here. Look at that. Oh yeah, see? Looking pretty good. Got most of the lights in. Almost done with the build. So basically, all we have left is we're going to attach the light that goes through the gas tank that is actually going to be the display. We're going to actually attach the handlebars, the display, a couple other miscellaneous bits on the Space Marine himself, and then we're going to attach the bike to the base. And that's it. So we are real close to the end of this build, so we'll see how it goes for us. As always, we will start the 1 hour timer. Boom, there it is. And here we go, 1 hour of hobby. So again, thank you everybody for joining me. Here. Again, probably live. Say hi, let me know you're here. Let me know that I'm live. Let me know it's all working. Let's go ahead and switch over to the old desk cam. There we are. Okay, so last week we actually installed the guns, if you remember. We actually ran the wires up through the bottom there. Come on, here we go. You can do the focus. You can handle it. Perfect. Anyway, so we ran the wires up through the bottom. We filled this entire cowling with glue. We actually relieved the inside of the bike. We attached the 2 different lights to the backs of the actual fiber optics that we installed right there. And of course, since we have 2 different flash modules and nothing's perfect, those are just a little bit out of sync, and they're going to continue to be out of sync. We, of course, also filled up the side cowling with some hot melt glue. And then we did use some of the Tamiya goo, the sprue goo, as it were, to fill that top there. I'm still getting some light leakage, but when we get over to the paint phase, I'm thinking I could either put a bit on there, or maybe even a brass bit or something like that. Do something that that can cover that up, or just not even worry about it, really, right? That big deal. Okay, so we got that going on, and of course we are actually building 2 bikes. The second bike, pull those clamps off there, and of course it is also ready to go. Okay, there we are. Looking pretty good. Getting close to the end of this build. So now the first thing we're going to do, let me just scoot myself in there. Make sure the camera is an eye for a little bit. There we go. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to attach the LED to the side of the hole we created in the tank. So I'm going to grab the handy tweezers here. A pretty nice pair. Let's see. These are stainless, non-magnetic, made in India. They're not too bad. A little bit of glue on the tips. We'll clean that off. Always important to have a nice, sharp pair of tweezers for your hobby. Got some of the hot melt glue on there. I was using these to kind of reach into the hot melt glue and position some wires. Clean that off real quick. You know, even if you don't get a really good pair of tweezers to begin with, as long as they're made out of a decent material, you can go in and use your file to just shape those tips, flatten them out. Maybe use a pair of pliers to bend them a little bit, especially if you have some jewelry making tools. But you basically want them to come together, and let's just kind of position those. So you want those tweezers to come together like a good pair. You see how the 2 tips of these ones are super even. So as they come together, you can tell the one that's on the top relative to your screen. There's a little bit of glue on that bottom one still. The one that was on the top relative to your screen. Come on, you can focus, camera. I know you can do it. There it goes. Yeah. So anyways, You can see that the one on top is just a slight bit longer on the one on the bottom. So that has a mild effect on precision. And of course, they don't come together exactly at the tip. There's a little bit of a flat, if you will, that I've been able to shape so they have kind of a little bit of a grippy area. So with a little bit of work, I was able to get these tweezers pretty good. I probably could come back with a stone and work down the tip a little bit more to even those out, but not going to bother doing that. Actually, on quite a few pairs of different tweezers. These ones are decent. Not sure where I got them. Again, I think I just picked them up randomly at the hobby store. Okay, so we currently have this light right here. Now, funny, at work, I actually have some nice plastic tweezers with a really fine tip. I think those would be good for doing some of this electrical work. It's probably no danger. I mean, there's no danger to me, certainly, but I would hate to, accidentally penetrate a cover or a shielding or something, just accidentally cross some wires and short something. So I think go ahead and turn that off. And again, we'll get that better view in there. Probably set up a zoom camera view too, but it's good enough. You see we have the LED right here, and I'm just going to use a piece of bit of glue to tap the side. Let's do that. Oops. Got to cap off my plastic glue here. Let's take care of that. We will be using some plastic glue in a minute. Okay, and where is the thick glue? Ooh, that popped off. That was kind of weird. Interesting. And let's put a dab card here. Business card of sales associate at my local Honda dealer. Get my car repaired last week. Super random. Got a pretty new car, HRV, and the cable that goes into the fuse box came loose. So some kind of factory defect that finally worked itself loose. So they torqued it down, and ideally I never see that problem again. Okay, so let's get a toothpick or two. Throw our Raven Wing coin here to give the camera something easy to focus on. Working on the table. And this is my bin of, what do we say, toothpicks, wooden toothpicks. These get broken up a lot to make them into shaping tools. And we, of course, have our mascara brushes for various paint mixing and some glue applying, glue cleanup. Hobby sticks, always handy. Little popsicle sticks, because they had little ones, so those are the ones I bought. And these, which are just magic in the hobby room. I think there's some kind of toothpick. I don't even know what they are, but they're still little shaped wooden dowels. So we'll grab a couple of those. And, of course, anytime you're doing any gluing, toothpicks. Super, super handy. Let's toss that out of the way. And let me get my candy rag. And let's do this. Of course, in my classic manner, did you guys catch that? Threw both wooden dowels right into the pile of glue. Awesome. Okay. Well, now that we've established that, let's go ahead and glue this thing in place. Okay. Let's see. And we're just going to put a little dab right on the side here. That's probably a little too much glue. Big bead. A little dab on the side here. And then I'm going to need a little more. A little more in there. Oh, there we go. And then I'm just going to push the wire into it and hold it there for a minute. And that's just to keep the wire from, bouncing around or literally, I don't even care if it bounces around. I don't want it to accidentally get pushed back in while I'm doing the rest of the assembly. So that's really the whole reason we're putting it in. Come on. There you go. I could probably use a little zip kick here. I just hate to use that when I'm doing gluing too much. Well, cementing too much, and also I don't like to get the liquid all over this wire. Just kind of, there we go. Bend it so it sticks on its own. That's the best glue joint, right? Is the one that has no tension on it. Okay, so it's just going to sit there and stick in place. And we should probably do that on the other one while we got the glue handy. So same thing. Go ahead and get that wire. It's kind of already in a pretty good spot, but we'll just tack it in place again with a little bit of glue here. Oh, my off camera. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, there we go. And boom. Okay, so let's see how things are going. Not sure. Well, okay, well, we'll see. Hopefully we are live. I don't see anybody chatting back at me yet. Hopefully we'll get somebody tuning in. Otherwise, I'll be talking to you on Facebook anyways, right? Or I mean YouTube anyways, because that's where this ends up. Okay, so we've just glued those two bits in place. With that, we're actually done with like the top wiring. So if I wanted to, I could just secure the bike to the base, and that's probably not a bad idea. I'm gonna pull that through. Not too worried about the wiring on the bottom as of now. I can just kind of pull it out and I'll bend it and tuck it and get it out of the way. But mainly, I just want to make sure I get a good positioning on the bike. And I think if I have them lined up right, yeah, so this button, the back button, takes care of the back stuff, and the front button takes care of the front stuff. And the mistake I made with the prototype bike is I put the front wheel a little too close to that button, and it's a little bit hard to turn on. And same with the back. So on this one, I'm going to try getting just a little more angle out of this guy. So something like that. A little janky, but I think it's okay. So let's do that. Got the cement over here. Okay. So let's pull that wire through. Let me get a good grip on it from the bottom. So I'm pulling the wire as I'm gluing the wheels down. Yep. Okay. Ugh, it's a little messy, but the eagle has landed, so to speak. And again, I want to make sure I get enough sort of space to push those buttons without using a pen, but I guess if that's what I have to do every time, it's not a big deal. It'd be nice if I didn't have to. Okay, so we're just going to set that aside for a second, let that glue firm up. And I guess we're going to do the same over here. Actually, while that one glues, I'm going to kind of go in an alternating style. I'm going to build the top end of this guy, and then by the time we finish the top end, I'll stick glue this to the base, and it'll kind of be done then. And then this guy will be ready to handle as it is. So I think that'll be a better approach. And with that said, this guy is the one who has the sword on his leg. So there's got to be a cutout for that. Or no. Oh, did I manage to stick the wrong arm on the wrong guy? Genius. Look at that. Stinking genius. Luckily, I didn't glue it yet. Okay, so anyways, we will stick the right arm over on this side. Yes, it has to be this one. Doesn't seem right. Probably the wrong body too. Anyways, we'll make it work. Don't worry, we'll make it work. It just doesn't even matter. Okay, so on this side then, I got this arm that I want to go over here. And it wasn't an issue a minute ago, but all of a sudden it is. I think the easiest thing is to just clip that bit off. Now we can position the arm however we like. Kind of like a lower. Ooh, I like that. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Right along the edge of the cowling, and then we'll do like a metallic effect or something on the back of the blade that catches the glow off that edge. In fact, let's turn that light on for a sec. So kind of have that position like that, and you can see if you look, just see how the light's just catching on the edge of the sword. See that in the camera? There it is. It's just catching the edge of the sword. But imagine I put some like silver or like a super bright white right on that edge, and it'll kind of catch that glow. It'll kind of enhance that effect. So I think that's the way to go with that one. So there's that arm. Of course, the backpack, pretty easy. Just cut the pip off. Slop some glue on there. Slop some cement on there. And stick it in place. There we go. Looks good. Okay. And I think it's time to try and position those handlebars. I had to figure out which arms were the right arms right before we get the handlebars on there. And so this guy has that arm. It means we have to use this one with the gauntlet on this side. We'll just get that into position, and then I guess that gauntlet must go along with this piece. Yep, that seems to be right. Okay, we can make this work. You can see that light in there, and of course we already glued the wire. That won't be pushed in. We're just going to slide this over. Test fit. Always dry fit your stuff. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Okay, so that seems to be working pretty good. I mean, that'll fit at least, and we'll see that the glow comes out pretty well. So let's go ahead and get some glue in there. And I think it'd just be pretty straightforward. The actual point of contact is this little counter bore. I'm going to put some glue kind of around the edge, and it'll form, I think, enough of a gasket in there. Let's clean that off. Really don't want to get cement on the LED. Again, I just don't think it'll hurt it, but I don't want to find out. Put that in there. Oh yeah, nice, plenty of clearance. Clearance. Yeah, that fits in very nicely. Okay, and so this guy's going to have a gun shooting over on this side, so we just have to fit this short arm into place. We'll dab of glue. Not bad. What do you think? Oh, was I off camera? Need to put a point that's about. So, anyways, all I did was get the backpack kind of in place there. Got the arm in place, glued this joint right here. And of course now we have handlebars in place with the light shining through. And if you remember for that, we're just going to use a little bit and have a 3D printed skull that I have here from Shapeways. Pop goes the monkey, maybe. I forget who it was exactly. And let's just get one of those little skulls. Flip it. And we're just going to use one of these little teeny skulls, I think is the best size. I jam that big one in there. That medium size one. I have one of those already removed. Let's see what that looks like. This one might be a little too big. See? The smaller one. There we go. Okay, so put that in place. Yeah, I mean, it glows. Like you can see it glows, but it honestly, you don't get the whole skull glowing. And I know the cameras have a little bit of a hard time with the LED. So it's super bright on the screen, but in person, it's really not quite as bright and overwhelming as it is to the camera. So we're just going to clip off one of these little skulls here. Nice. And 3D printed, of course. And we take our glue, mess of glue now. No, I think that needs a little refresh. Dab. Nice. And put it on the back of this thing, but get the tweezers loaded with the skull. Luckily, the eye sockets provide a decent holding spot. There we go. Whoa, and a decent launch spot. Just hold that a little more gently this time. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Okay, so we got that. And again, we'll scoop up a little of that glue. See how it's. I think that's okay. So now, here's the tricky bit. We got a little bit of that glue going on. I'm also going to shoot a little bit of hot melt glue down this bore. There's the hot melt glue gun. And we're using the opaque glue, as we talked much about. A little bit of string there. Okay, let's drop that skull in. Boom. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Damn it. Stupid tweezers. Ah. Shit. Houston, we have a problem. The darn tweezers caught in the hot melt glue. We have a potential disaster situation going on here, folks. But with a quick reaction, it is all good. There we are. Okay. And if you can't really see it with the light on, we got that skull in place there. Looks good. I probably will. You see. Did I end up painting over that one? I think I did. I think I ended up painting over the one on this one as I look at it. Didn't even think about that. But that's quite okay. Yeah, sure did. Actually, it's all things considered, I'll probably end up popping this off to do the primer on these things. But you know, at least now that I've put it in place, it'll have a nice flat spot behind it. I didn't even think about that. Oh well. And I built this first one like 2-3 months ago. So, you know, just kind of winging it on the rest of this one. Okay, so we got, I mean, basically that's it. We're going to get the rest of the bits on here real quick. We got the gun. That. Wow, that is just a funky, funky direction. Let me rethink that. Is this the guy? Now he's got a sword and a thing over here, right? I think I need a different arm, to be honest with you. I don't think the pistol arm works on this guy. I don't think it works. So I wonder if I got a Primaris arm over in my Primaris bits box. Let's take a look at the old Primaris bits box and see if we can find a spare Primaris arm. Or here's a more chill pistol. That's not too bad. Here's a hand that's reloading. What else do we got as an option here? I'm looking for a right hand. What's this right hand over here doing? That's a gunner arm. It's not too bad of a choice. Probably do something with that. I'll kind of hold that for a second. Let's see what else we could use here. Not a lot of right arms. There's these. Oh, look at this. Just an open arm. Okay, so he's got one arm in and his other arm reaching for his pistol. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that'll be something a little different. Perfect. And then we need a pauldron to go with that. So there's a spiky one. There's one with a little skull bit on it. Yeah, let's do the little cross, a little Imperial Protection of the Emperor on there. Let's clean up sprue eye on this real quick. There. And looks like there's one. No, those are parts of the bit. Ah, there's the other one. Not too bad. And the arm. There's something on the elbow here. And that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw that arm on first. Put the bit. Clip the pip, as it were. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so he's gonna reach back and grab his pistol real quick. Looks like there's a little sprue eye on the finger. I'll take care of that once the glue is dry. Little janky to pop on that right now. That's glue. Throw that in the pauldron. And doing. Okay, there we go. Get that in place. He's good. Okay. You got to go higher on the shoulder here to get the pauldron to fit right. Still pretty good positioning. I'm happy with that. Okay, so this guy is basically done. Now, all my Primaris have no helmets. So for this guy, we're going to go for crew cut head. But for the bike guys, I decided to go for these ones with the little rebreathers on them. Okay, so if he's going to turn this way on the base, he's like sliding in and drawing his pistol. And then he's going to turn his head a little bit that way to compensate. And I think that's the maneuver for this guy. Let's pull those wires through the base. Thread them through the base. Wheels glued. A little bit of a loop there. Give me trouble. Handy toothpick. Come on. There we go. That threading through. Okay. Okay, so get that wire through. And get it turned. And let's glue those wheels. wire tuck just a slight bit more. Okay, let's get those wheels glued. Drop will do ya. Dab will do ya. And let's do this. And trying to leave a little more room for those wheels. For those, the wheels to get, you can get to the buttons. And I think we're good. We are good. Yeah, that's just going to have to sit. So that bike, well, she is done. Okay, now what comes next is actually priming the whole bike, right? So we're going to prime it. When I prime it, there's going to be a little bit of masking with the tape to cover some of the light stuff. But I'm not going to mask the fiber optics out here. I'm actually going to allow those to get painted. And then once it's painted, we're going to use a tool. See, that's the problem with this one is I got too close with the button. And I pulled a battery. Uh-oh. Ah, it's awkward and inconvenient. Okay, well, anyways, you've seen the video. You'll have to trust me on it. I want to search for the darn battery right now. I know it's around here somewhere. But anyways, we painted the outside of the fiber optics and then just clipped them off and filed them off after priming it. And so that's what's going to happen right here too. Is we're just going to, prime this whole bike, clip off those two fiber optics, and then file it down at the end. And of course, we're going to mask the other things. But other than that, this bike is built. We've got the guns with the alternating effect. We've got the lighted a bit on the display. For my chapter, it happens to be a skull. But whatever your chapter is, you should go ahead and put that particular logo on there. And of course, we have the plasma effect for the fusion engine, since we removed the exhaust pipes early in the build, and have our fusion powered Outrider bikes. And let's go ahead and finish this guy up as well. So once again, we got this ready to go. Pop that in place with a little bit of cement. Yeah. Again, just don't want too much. It's a little bit of a counterbore in there, so you actually have to get enough glue to reach down and touch the tank. That's where the real bond is going to happen. But along the edge there of that raised boss into the little counterbore on the back here. Let's use a toothpick to help us position that. Not super worried about that exact positioning until, of course, we actually get the arm in place. Now this arm, let's see here. Be in the right position if I use the bit. No, not even close. Not even close. So we're going to remove that tip. Bit of glue inside here. A little bit more. Kind of. We got to get that wrist. Perfect. Okay, here we go. Right, hit it from the top first, so the inevitable glue squishes out the bottom. We'll turn that back. There we go. Get all that together. Got a little bit of glue out the bottom. Nope, actually that joint sealed up pretty nicely. Okay, looking pretty good. And I guess he could still have his sword in the air, and we'll just fill that in. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing with this guy. He's going to be sword raised. No, that's right. We're going to go sword forward on him. What was I thinking? Let's go ahead and clip that pip off. I'm going to take just a little bit of that shoulder piece down too, just to give me a nice flat area to work with as far as putting the sword arm in place. We'll give him a second sword on his arm, right? I think I need to flatten this area a little bit too. So we're just going to come in here and put that down. And yeah, pretty good. Oh, nice. The hand is resting there. No, not good. Wait, there. That's the angle I need. See if I can get the shoulder to work out right if I keep it at that angle. A little forward. I think I can bring it back. Probably. Ooh, actually, that's working out better than I thought. So that's actually fitting pretty good. Bring that down just a hair again. I want to catch the light right on the edge. Oh, look, it's going to catch there. All right, so we're going to get a little reflection off there, a reflection off of there. Yeah, that'll work out nice. And then again, I'm going to put some silver on those spots so they catch the light. Might even do something with a little inky color. See, orange. Orange, I guess you could put a little red to pull it in the red direction. Blue, does that give you a purplish kind of color? I don't know. We could do something like that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. And that arm. And let's hit the hot melt glue gun for the last time in this build. And that's just to fill this well again. A little bit of glue. Creates that lens in there. And with that, I'm going to unplug the hot melt glue gun so I don't forget to unplug it later. Always important, a little safety. They're pretty safe devices, but leave it on, and it is a hot tip, so things can happen. Get ourselves another little skull. And I think if I can just hold it in place with hot melt glue. Maybe we don't even need the crazy glue on this one. Give that a try. And the hot melt glue certainly stuck to my tweezers last time. Give that a try. Yeah, I guess that works. Hot melt glue is just a hair more hot melt glue. Even though we unplugged it, like kind of sunk in there. I put as much as I probably should have. You do need it to spread out and create kind of a lens effect by connecting with most of the bottom of the bit. This skull I chose is a pretty flat skull, and then it has kind of like a striped, corrugated almost pattern on the back. It's like one of those 3D pictures, right? The ones that change as you wiggle them. What's the name for that? There's a name for that. There's a name for everything, right? Do you know the name? Okay, well, we've got a few strings of glue, and I definitely see a little bit of time being spent actually cleaning stuff up. Let's get his backpack on here. I think this guy, we can leave the pip in place. A little bit of glue right in above that. Just turned it a little more of an angle than the other guy was. Come on. Get it. I will avoid all possible jokes. Okay. Yeah, and there we are. Make sure that really wants to climb. Kind of pushing. Kind of got like some unbalanced forces here. You got the pressure on this side. You see I'm actually having to bend the bit. So there's a little stress mark on the handlebar right there. I'm going to bend that down just to get that, keep this at the angle I want. See, it's got a nice clearance from the side, still catching the light from the top. And yet this arm over here is not pushed too far back. So he does look like he's turning a little bit. Of course, we have the bike turning like this as well. And we'll just put his head in at a little bit of an angle as well. That'll all work out. And no helmets on my Johnny Marines. This guy's wearing a rebreather like his battle brother. Okay. He is also finished. A couple extra bits here. I'm going to end up putting this, I guess, is going to have to go on this guy's leg. Let's cut that pip off the back. Woozy wig and all that. Would he really have it on his leg? Do the other guys have it on their legs? I just think he might have it like strapped here, kind of ready to go. We're going to go with that. Put it nice and level. Yeah. That's how he's going to roll. He would just have it ready to go. Like, boom, mag locked my leg. It's just more like hand off, right? Hand off, boom, chain sword, roar, up into the stab position, and swing down. See, it's almost like I planned it. But I did not. Okay, so we've got all three of those dudes done. We can, oh my gosh, we can put the cap back on our glue. Do we even still have that? It's been off for what, 6 weeks now? For the entire build. Had that off. And, I know I had that other battery around here. Can't have, like, disappeared on me or anything, I don't think. Ah, there it is. Okay. Why is that important? Because now that we finished all three bikes, we're going to have all three bikes lit. And here. And we got that one on as well. Perfect. Let's clean some of our tools out of the way. So we got our glue card. Going to put that right in the garbage. We fixed, these ones are still in good shape. Don't need our clamps. Toss that gluing tip. Put the knife where I won't cut myself. Tweezers out of the way. Spare bits off into bits land. Yeah, we still got about 17 minutes left. Wow, not too bad. So let's see. For 3 bikes, did it in 6 sessions. So ultimately, that was about 2 hours. No, because I only built 2 of them. So about 3 hours worth of work, I guess, so far for each bike. And of course, right now, each of them needs, well, these both need basing materials added, of course. What else? I need to put my chapter insignia on the arm, which is this little skull right here. In fact, I'll probably do that right now since we have a little bit of time left in today's session. Once all the glue has settled and everything's hardened for a few days, and so I know that it's all working and all that good stuff, then that's when I'm going to finally come back with the hot melt glue gun and secure the rest of the wires down on the base. Mainly what I want to do is protect the wires so that as I move it around, especially on a rough game surface or terrain, that I am not abrading or damaging the wires. I do want these bikes to last. As you guys, of course, know, I built my other Space Marine bike army, and that was like, what, 3 4 years ago, I think it was. It's been a while, right? Since I completed that. I can get those fine bikes wherever I got them. Right? The insanity that is my lighted marine bike army. I wasn't really planning on being finished this early, so for the bonus time here to joink around. I'm just over in the other part of the hobby room. I do not have the mobile hobby cam. Do not get to travel with me. But I would just grab out a little bit of the old foam for the rest of the bike army, as it were. So, of course, we've got our batteries dead on most of them, right? Oh, what I was actually hoping to grab was the commander. Goes aside. So, there we go. Long story short, right? So, anyways, here's one of my old bikes. So, I have 3 squads of these bikes. You know, that was really one of the first LED projects that I ever really worked on, was working on these Space Marines. And that was like 3-4 years ago. Man, it was the second LVO, the one where Liz Foster one was where I got introduced to the lights, and I started building these bikes then. And it did take a while to build them all. So those are the original lighted Space Marine bikes, and of course in those ones I did different LED colors to get the different squads going. And then since then I've of course engaged in quite a few projects. One of my favorites was of course my chapter master for the Space Marine Army. So here's Chapter Master Damocles. It is Power Fist and Storm Shield. And of course, he also has some fusion power going on his bike. Fusion and Prometheum. He's kind of old school. Got his light going on there. This guy's magnetized, comes on and off. One of my chapter master. Hopefully, he survives. Still exists in the new codex. Chapter master on a bike. And then one of my favorites was then Gotrek and Felix, or excuse me, Thankwall and Bone Ripper. Gotrek and Felix. Thankwall and Bone Ripper. Literally their nemesis. And of course, I built this one pretty much right after I started the bikes. So this guy, of course, has a programmable board inside of him. Here we have the battery in the base. And then the back opens up, and then that's where we have our programmable boards and all of that. So that's on Thankwall and Bone Ripper. I just want to bust out some of these other projects because here we are. We're at the end of this particular project. And what's next? Well, what's next is, start looking at, lay him down, right? Glory, Thankwall. All glory to the great horned rat and the Emperor. Totally the Emperor. I mean, yes. Okay, so there we got our 3 bikes ready to go. And what's next? Well, I'll tell you what's next. Well, first off, you know what is actually next? Is the very fact that I just finished this project. What it really is, there's something. So we're going to bust out the old Kaio Japanese whiskey. Have a little sip. Oh, yeah. Just a finger. Weeknight and all that. Plus, we recorded the podcast last night. A little heavier for that. And other reasons. For obvious reasons. A lot of people drank last night, I think. So here we go. Cheerio. That's delicious. Yum. Okay. whiskey's so good. So, with that out of the way, what's next? Well, I've been looking here at some of the Necron kits. And boy, unlike Marines, these are not bulky kits, right? These are not big fat guys. But looking at this guy, I think I could run a wire up the leg pretty easily and show you some tricks for going around like a knee and that kind of stuff. So that might be fun, a fun challenge. The wire would have to run right out through the back here, and then up into the inside. And then from there, we would, drill out the eyes and maybe try to thin the head from the back just enough to get like the little indentations glowing harder than the rest of it. We might be able to do a cool effect there. And then with the weapon, it already has cables, so there actually becomes no need to hide the wiring. So we actually wrap the wiring around and come right up in here, giving us a few opportunities to do something interesting with the lighting. Like one idea I had was to actually drill out, like one or more of the little circles on the glaive itself and put in like an LED in each one of those, or maybe an LED in just the two big ones. Might be kind of cool effect to go for. Might even be able to get a fiber optic, hard to say, to go vertically through there. There's also the opportunity to maybe just light this little headpiece right here. So this guy out of the Indomitus kit is pretty high on my interest level to light him, and I think that he would be an appropriately challenging model. And not to wimp out, because the other guy that I'm looking at now, of course, when I do him, that's one of those. I do the whole Skorpech destroyers too. That might be interesting to have their whole squad lit. And then there's this guy who's got the heavy Gauss here, and might be able to do something cool. I was thinking with the actual Gauss rifle, fiber optics, the whole 9 yards. And again, the same challenges. You're going to run the wire up through this tiny leg, bring it around that knee, out the back, up through. And then with his face, again, a little bit less detail. So here we would just probably pull the eyes and light them up as well. So those are two kind of strong possibilities for me. Now, I've built some of the other stuff that's in this kit, and so I was looking at this guy as well. And I have two Indomitus, so I have another one of these guys that I could build. And so with this guy, we have a little bit bigger base to work with and a little bit thicker legs, right? But the challenge here is these legs a little more curvy. In fact, I think this is the leg that I would want to come up through, because I got this piece of rock, and then we would come up through the leg, take this corner, and then come up this way. So it'd be a pretty good challenge to get that wire through there. Not impossible. Again, I just see it. You're going to bring it out the back, and you've got all this sort of cabling, which is, you just let the wires like really become part of the model, not really hiding them. But I think in legs and stuff, you want to hide them. Like it might be okay to show a wire as we go through a joint. It would be not noticeable. But with all this cabling, you can do something. And then look at this. You can come up into his face, and he's got this. You could have like the scar kind of extra glowy on the one side to do something interesting. Maybe like take the back out of like where his ribs are here. You're going to hollowing out most of that chest and even thinning this symbol right here, and then getting a pulsing kind of a green effect in there. So this guy's really kind of interesting. And then I'm looking out here at the hand, and we've got this on kind of a little pip on the back of the hand that we could glow up. And if we do a glow there, maybe even a flash that goes in conjunction with something inside the palm, so it kind of is creating a little field effect over here. Maybe even like a white flicker, so it's like zzz, like kind of like sizzling electricity, combined with, we go with like a high blue flicker, maybe even a purple flicker, and then a UV reactive paint on the inside of this edge to kind of really catch that flicker. So some kind of ideas that I've been tossing around as far as the next project goes, as far as what are we going to light up, right? And pretty much been enjoying this Wednesday series. I hope you have been too. Obviously, nobody's enjoying the series right now because nobody's watching. I suspect there's something going on with my stream. It doesn't matter. I'm recording this, and so again, it's posted on YouTube, but we'll sort that out. But nonetheless, I've really been enjoying this every Wednesday, getting together, kind of doing an hour of hobby. In fact, today we finished a little early, and I just have an opportunity now to keep going with it. And there's even like sometimes like the challenge is how small of a model. So like here, look at this. Here we have a 32 mil base, but we do have this nice piece of terrain, and I think you could just jump the wire straight across into the body, not really hide it too much, and nobody would notice. Kind of make it look like it's just dangling wires, maybe that caught off of here on this thing, and look at that big old globe. Like remove that and replace it with maybe a glass bead, and then pump a bunch of light into there. Might be a pretty cool effect, and then you would of course run a light pipe and a little lens effect on the eyes. Simple idea, because you're only going to be able to put one battery in there. So you basically have one, you can either do one effect, which would be a flash, so you could have like the pulsing here, match the pulsing in the light. You can do multiple colors, and I'm thinking with these pico and nano LEDs, I'm thinking I can go up to like 4, maybe even 6 LEDs off of one coin cell and have reasonable battery life. And so let's talk about battery life. So far, I have taken the original Primaris lighted Marine and left him on overnight multiple times. That's just something that's happened. Struggling with the focus on the desk. Then you see the desk. You see that. You can see my face. A beautiful face. Here we go. Face cam. Okay. Hey, what's up, guys? Okay, so here we are. So the lighted Primaris, I've left it on overnight 3, 4, 5 times, something like that, and it's got plenty of battery life. There's nothing going wrong. So we're in good shape as far as that goes. So these guys, I'm expecting that much like, okay, so here's the real deal. My previous lighted bikes, which were also just, 2 3-volt LEDs, but they had 2 batteries. These guys, I've left the battery on for a week at a time, where I've literally put the model away in my foam case, and a week later went to the game store, and the light was still on, and the model was still shining, and I turned it off, the batteries recover a little bit, and they're shining fine for days after that. Basically, I would replace the batteries in these bikes once a year, and that's all it took to keep them fresh and going all the time. Basically, to be honest, is every year come to the LVO, I would throw all the other batteries away. Well, not throw them away. Okay, so I have a whole, these models would get the best batteries, and then I remove the ones that were still working pretty good and using some other lesser used models and that kind of. So anyway, so as far as that goes, every year the LVO is when we put new batteries in, and usually by the following LVO, about half the models, the lights would be dead, and the other half would be going, dimly, and a few would maybe still be looking pretty good as far as that goes. It's kind of like how often did the models get used? Which ones got left on? Those kinds of things. Like maybe a guy got turned off every time he was the first one to die in a particular squad. So we'll see how it goes. So again, I thank you all for joining me for this little adventure of doing a live hobby stream. We've been working on the lighted Primaris Outrider over the last 5 episodes, technically 6, with the hobby prelude showing you how to deburr your models. He's my co-host on the In Your Phase podcast a little bit with that. But, it's an important thing to do if it matters to you, right? And that's the nice thing about this hobby. Even things like LEDs. Why do I do LEDs in these models? I do it because I like it. It's fun. It's challenging. For what it's worth, the GW models themselves, like for most of us who have built many kits, and I've built many kits, multiple armies over the years from GW, as many people have. Not a real huge challenge in building a GW kit. That's why people get into conversion, They work on their painting skills. They get into sculpting green stuff. And I myself got into adding lights and wires and all those things. And when I was a kid in the 70s, lots of toys were coming out with lights and LEDs and cool stuff. And I thought that was neat. And I would take them all apart and look at how they were made and look at how they work. And lo and behold, here I am as an adult building models and adding LEDs right to them so that they look like the toys I had as a kid and all of that. So again, thank you everybody for joining me for the building of these 2 LED lighted Primaris models. Thank you very much. I'll be back next week. We're going to start work on a Necron project. Again, haven't quite decided which one it is, so it'll be a little bit of a surprise, but next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Hope you're here to join me. Hope you've watched this video sometime in the intervening week on YouTube. And again, thank you very much, everybody. You stay safe out there. Roll some dice, do some hobby, squeeze your loved ones, have fun, and eat some hot peppers. I should mention that I do have some Fireheads interviews coming up here in October. I've lined up about 5 different celebrities. I'll keep the names under wrap for another second or two, but I guarantee you they're all people that you know, people you're interested in from the Warhammer community. We're going to eat some hot peppers together. We're going to ask some questions. We're going to talk some Warhammer, and we're going to see what the heck happens. And with that, my friends, we have hit our hour of hobby. Thank you again for joining me for this inaugural hobby series with In Your Phase Media, building the lighted Primaris. This has been John Feuerhelm, your hobby guide, I guess. I've been in your phase with that hobby, man. Hey, thanks again for joining me. I'll catch you all later. Peace out.